good, YouTube? Welcome back to another reaction. Today we got a pretty interesting video. We're gonna see if the US military could actually conquer UK if they wanted to. I'm from the UK, I'm from England, and I got a slight feeling maybe US could conquer the UK. I'm pretty interested to see what this video is gonna be about and see what they come up with. So yeah, let's jump straight into this one, man.
We all know US and UK are close
fuck is this? Oh shit, I thought I got it way too loud.
allies, and that US armed might is far greater than that of UK. But just for argument's sake, and to learn what sort of limitations waging warfare across the ocean implies, this video will explore US invading the United Kingdom. So, with just the airplanes and ships left to count on, is an invasion over the Atlantic viable?
See, that is the only benefit the UK have. If this was to happen, the US would have to travel so far and across the ocean to conquer UK, and UK have one of the best naval I was gonna say naval teams. naval military in the world. That's what I'm gonna go with. I don't know what the correct term you use there, but best naval in the world. Not the best, but one of the best. So it probably would be hard.
Welcome to Binkov's HQ. You know, not Vikings customers completely
I fucking love Vikings.
With the link in location.
I'm surprised I don't download the game like that.
Could US military successfully invade UK if it wanted to? Some rules will apply. US gets no overseas bases, and all other countries are impassable. Distance from US to UK mainland is pretty big, especially when reaching London. Before trying to land any troops, the seas must first be clear of British ships, and Royal Air Force must be suppressed. US
Oi, why have they got more ships, bro? What the fuck?
Has a massive advantage when it comes to naval assets.
Oh, are they much bigger?
All of its assets are made for oceans and could operate near UK if needed, while the Americans would need to sail to and from Britain, taking weeks away from
wait, is that how many they have? They have 22 Ticonderoga cruisers, 66 Burke destroyers, 1 Zumwalt destroyer, 7 independent LCSs, 6 Freedom LCSs. We have 6 Type 45 Darwin destroyers and 13 Type 23 Duke frigates. Alright, yeah, come on now. Come on.
While the Americans will need to sail to and from Britain,
maybe we're not one of those
away from their actual presence, US Navy could pretty much do whatever it pleases near the UK. It's interesting to point out that most of US ships do not carry anti-ship missiles. US Navy prefers to use their carriers for such missions. British Royal Navy is to go down a similar route. Their Harpoon missiles are old and set to be retired soon. Not all ships have them. Only a minor part of the British fleet has modern air defense systems. Basically, the sea war would be fought above the sea and under it, but the British lacked anti-ship missiles for its aircraft. Furthermore, British Tornado aircraft ceased to train for the anti-ship missions almost 2 decades ago. Basically, if UK...
Listen, I don't think we need 14 minutes of this, man. I feel like we're already fucked.
Had to try and do air raids against US fleet, it would be down to 2 weapons, laser-guided bombs and short-range tactical missiles. Brimstone in particular might be the weapon of choice. While its warhead is tiny, Brimstone 2 has a decent range. Still, against dozens of potent destroyers designed to deal with many anti-ship missiles at once, it's unlikely UK could do much. British best bet would be their submarines. They're fairly modern. Theoretically, the British could use their ballistic missile subs as attack subs as well.
I like it.
Speed up the entry into service of another astute sub, while keeping one Trafalgar running a bit longer.
Bro, come on! Why do you guys need this many? Why? We got 3 submarines, right? You have 16, 3, 31, 18. Come on, bro.
Rummaging for retired sailors to crew it. Still, the British would be far outnumbered. US submarine fleet dwarfs theirs.
Oh god.
Given a bit less time on station and British home advantage when it comes to resupply, the balance of power may not be quite 6 to 1. Still, it's no question the British subs would get hunted down within months. Aerial anti-submarine platforms would also play a large role.
Oh, you have that as well.
While the British could use all their assets, even just the deployable portion of US assets would be enough to force the British subs into hiding.
Okay, I thought I was reading this right. I was like, hell yeah, we got 41 helicopters that can detect anti-submarine assets, right? I was like, hell yeah, that's sick, bro. You can't see because of my camera. Hold on. Boom. They have 460 plus 69 plus 67. Yo, it's a good job we're friends, man. It's a good job we're friends.
Portion of US assets would be enough to force the British subs into hiding.
No.
Furthermore, US carrier-based air power would make it hard for British anti-sub helicopters to operate. The main force projection would be done by US carriers, naturally. US could choose whether to use more carriers initially and then have less available later on, or to maintain a smaller number on constant patrol. To defeat the British Air Force, the former is more likely. US nominally has 11 carriers, but only 9 air wings. It does have an additional support wing, which is a lot bigger.
Right, listen, mate. Listen. You could just say, right, you could make this a 1-minute video and be like, right, okay, could the US military conquer the UK? Yes, they're fucked. Right, done. Capiche.
It may be the source
We
of
got
one
it,
or
man.
2 more combat wings
We got it.
after some months of
We're
preparation.
fucked.
But crews aren't the only issue. Lifespan of a carrier necessarily involves
What the fuck is
lengthy
this?
maintenance periods.
Why you just made the whole
Important to note is
ocean?
that the
No.
deployable period doesn't mean the carrier can actually be on a mission the whole time. Usually 1 or 2 deployments are made during those 18 months. Missions are usually 6 to 8 months long, and several months are needed to prep the carrier and its wing for another mission.
Fair enough.
Shorter missions might give more deployments in the short term, but in the long term, they would require even more maintenance for every month spent out at sea. Because of all that, it's unrealistic US would send out more than 6 carriers at once, after a few months of prep time. Similar issues would affect the aviation assault ships. Perhaps 4 to 6 could be deployed at once, after some preparations. Grand total of combat planes US Navy and Marine Corps could muster in a few months long air campaign is thus smaller than the total number of US planes. US might fly in fresh planes to replace ones that got lost, flying them
Alright, listen, it's all fine and dandy that you guys have, like, you know, double or quintuple or sextuple or whatever the fuck it is. It might be fine that you guys have a stupid amount of, like, you know, assets to us, but we're better trained, right? We're better trained. We're better fighters. You know, one of our planes can take 20 of yours, so we win. GG's, man. Good fight.
over the ocean to a carrier would be doable. What could the British respond with? Royal Air Force is smaller than even the readily available US planes deployed on carriers. Another huge issue for the British would be their lack of air defenses. Everything they currently
we
have
sound weak
are
as
fairly low
fuck.
altitude systems, meaning the US would be free to bomb them from high up with guided weapons.
I thought we were stronger than this. We sound helpless.
UK would also suffer the US cruise missile barrage. While the Brits have some such missiles of their own, it's unlikely they would be used against the faraway US bases. Even the subs that could carry them would be better utilized for defense of the homeland. While not all could be launched at once, US could sustain the effort. The British Air Force would be mostly paralyzed on the ground. US has also a much bigger recon platform fleet, especially when it comes to satellites.
To be fair, like, it would be interesting to know, like, is the British, like, super weak, or is it just compared to America? Because America is, like, you know, they're the #1 fucking military fucking, you know, spend in the world, right? So they have the biggest military in the world in terms of, like, assets and stuff, right? So, like, are we just super weak compared to them? Or are we, like, actually super weak in the
British
world?
lack those, as in the real world they timeshare some US spy satellites. US aircraft would be looking for targets as well. Britain would have no real means of scouting the US bases. US AWACS type planes would be plentiful, while British ones would mostly be trapped on the ground,
Yeah,
with
we're
runways and
fucked.
highways being mostly inoperative.
We're
Thus the
fucked.
Royal Air Force would slowly get destroyed on the ground. When they would be able to get some planes airborne, they still may not choose to engage the Americans, as it's likely US attack waves would be made of close to 100 planes with possibly as many fighters as Britain would muster per each local interception,
We're
or more.
fucked, bro.
The best
We're
Britain
at-
could hope for
Yeah,
would be
peace
a
out.
roughly equal kill ratio in the air. And when the losses on the ground are included, over months of a protracted bombing campaign, US would still be left with a sizable force. All this didn't even include the US Air Force. While
Okay.
the scenario requires it to use the bases inside the US, Britain could be reached. At first, bombers would be deploying cruise missiles, but later on, they would be likely used for bombing missions.
Bro, you don't even need it. We're already dead. You don't even need it. We're
But could
dead.
the Air Force tactical plane
Just
fleet
send one
help out as
plane.
well? With very ample in-flight refueling, the answer is yes. US operates the world's biggest air tanker fleet. The Hercules-based tankers, however, are too small and would use most of the fuel just to get near Britain. Still, the remainder of the fleet has a substantial fuel offload capacity, and tankers could refuel each other. Such ops may
That's
sound
cool as
complex,
fuck.
but compared to what the British did in Falklands War, they're fairly basic. The British used a dozen tankers to refuel themselves repeatedly, keeping the bomber refueled throughout all of the route. While all of the tanker fleet would not be available due to maintenance, the rest could still offload significant fuel
Bro,
load.
I would love to see like a tanker like actually like refuel a plane like midair and stuff and how that works.
Just outside Britain if needed. With several refuelings per plane, US Air Force could still expect to have around 400 combat planes in action practically every day. The British would really have no chance in the air. Within months, the US
No chance in the sea, no chance in the air, no chance on land. Yeah,
would
just
have complete control of the air.
let's just
And
stay
thus
friends,
the
man.
second phase of the invasion might commence. By that time, British ships would be mostly dead, even if they hugged the shores and just aided in the air defenses. British submarines might hold out a bit longer, if not being used to actively hunt down US ships. But even if British subs managed to kill 2 US vessels for each of their own, final result would be the end of the Royal Navy. So at around 6 months or so into the war, the landings would be mostly unopposed, except
Right,
for the
please tell us we got a bit of a fighting chance on land, right? Do we have a bit of a fighting chance on land? We have 89,000 active army marines, 27,000 reserve, 30,000 regular marine reserve. What they got? Huh? What they got? 29,000 troops with equipment. Realistic landing capacity. 20,000 with troops with equipment. We win, man. We win.
the Royal Army
the fuck outta here.
defending the shores.
We win, bro.
6 months would be enough for US to assemble pretty much all of their active and reserve assets. In addition to landing ships, US could count on numerous cargo assets of its Sea Lift Command and Reserve Fleet in case a port is secured. US Airborne could also help, with the numbers shown probably growing with newly trained paratroopers. Getting additional heavier equipment for them, however, would not be likely.
Oi,
given
use
the
that
time
20,000. Where
limit.
is
US transport plane
the
fleet
fuck is this
is pretty
50,000
big
came from?
and should be able to drop all the airborne troops within days. US could be looking at close to 30,000 troops during the first day and close to 20,000 more the day after. Subsequent days would see fewer and fewer troops being added and more supplies being brought in. The British would enjoy more soldiers than shown before. The reserve mentioned covers only the soldiers receiving some training periodically and soldiers for whom some heavy equipment is stored.
Wait, what's going on here? What? Bro, how the fuck have we got 1.1 million fucking troops after 9 months? What is this? Is this like forcing me to fight? Because I ain't fighting, bro. I'm running away. I ain't fucking fighting, bro. I'm gone. Hey, you can have the UK. I don't give a fuck. I'm out of here, bro.
In an event of a total war, Britain would be using those 6 months to mobilize as many soldiers as possible.
I'm gone.
While
See you
they
in a bit.
would be equipped with basically
I'm
just
swimming.
rifles,
I'm swimming
and
to
while
France.
their training would be less than adequate, they would still boost the overall numbers several times. Yet, although soldiers may not be enough, as UK has a problem of geography. Its landmass is just too large. Its coastline is very long. Even when taking just the western part of its coastline into account, the area to be defended is huge. And what about the islands? Perfect for US to take and entrench themselves at, before launching further landings from them. Most of those areas
you can have
are
the island, man. We
sufficiently
don't
far
care.
away from the mainland that British artillery would not be much of a factor. And what about Northern Ireland? There are just too many places for US to concentrate its assault on. The British would not be able to move their forces around easily and protect those islands or the Northern Ireland. so the islands would fall one by one.
Bro, do you know what? Like, this will never happen, thank God. Like, you know, we're allies and shit, and we'll always be allies, because, like, we just, you know, it's the UK and US, right? It's actually scary for, like, other countries, right? Let's see if Russia's watching this video, Putin's watching this video. He's like, oh, you know what? You know, that's a good idea, actually. Let's fuck up UK. We're fucked, bro.
In either Northern Ireland.
But then again, are we fucked compared to... I don't think we would be, right? Because then you got the point, and, like, the UK's got all the allies, right? Like the US will be doing this, but to help us out.
Ireland would be taken, or part of Great Britain would fall.
So thank
Try
God.
to traverse
Thank
overland
God, allies.
Scotland would be an obvious choice, though that would also slow down US breakthrough as well later on. Cornwall or Devon are also decent picks.
You know what? I'm actually glad that the US is this strong, bro. I'm actually glad. Because unless something crazy happens, we'll always be allies, right? And they'll be this strong compared to most countries.
As British defenders lack room to swoop down on the US beachhead.
A good video will
from
be
all
the US and
directions.
Russia.
Though such areas would likely be more heavily populated by British military to begin with. Once the US manages to secure ports and airfields and brings in US Army reinforcements, it would be basically game over for the British. US would
it was game over where you started this video, I'm not gonna lie. 609 heavy, 66 heavy, 281 versus 25, 1781 versus 24. Oh wait, that's medium utility. Okay. And 42. It's just absurd. Total 3012. Our total is 203. Sick.
up its helicopter force on the areas
Oh,
it
that's
has
for
taken,
helicopters.
which is considerable. While the British have a fleet of their own to help quickly distribute its forces where needed, their numbers are small. Both sides would of course be losing many helicopters, US to British low-level air defenses and British to US fighter cover, which would continuously be flying over the important areas.
Get the fuck out of here!
Have only a small part of shown inventory of heavy weapons present at any one point
in
US attacks.
Pussies!
While US would also not be disembarking thousands of its Abrams tanks or 10,000 of other heavy
you know what? You can have Scotland. We don't care. We don't care. Just don't go down south where I am.
combat vehicles, the overwhelming fire support coming from various directions would more than make up for it. Fire support from the ships may come in form of MLR units firing from the ships rather than actual gun barrage. US ships still lack long-range gun rounds. Attack helicopters are another way of concentrating force in one area quickly, but again the British are far outmatched, even if just half of US numbers are present. The issue for the Americans would be time, as the scenario
Bro, even a quarter of the numbers, it would struggle.
what can be achieved within 1 year, US would be under pressure to progress from their multiple beachheads. Northern Ireland is likely to fall within the 1 year time limit, but only minor parts of the Great Britain would be overrun by the Americans during the same time period.
You know what? That's like we're putting up a fight, bro. A year? I thought we got it a week.
The
Put up a
British
fight.
would put up a hell of a fight.
Hell yeah.
Ground troop loss ratio would favor the British somewhat, but when Air Force and Navy losses are added in, where Britain would suffer more heavily, the US would come out fine. With added large chunks of conquered territory, the US could call itself a victor.
Fuck.
Big thanks goes to all my
That was a fun video though. I enjoyed that one. Let me know what you guys thought of that video, and if you got any videos similar to that you want me to react to, just link them down in the comment section below. If you guys did enjoy this video and you enjoyed the reaction, make sure you leave a thumbs up, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm posting daily content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.